I had the privilege of hearing Alice speak at an Idle Hobbit event, which I think was about this time last year, if I remember rightly, and was absolutely transfixed. And I love poetry. Even better still, I love good poetry. And I love poetry that, in its artistry, touches me, which is what Alice's poetry did. And then this year, of course, at Trans Pride, there was over 1,000 people there, and Alice held them all raptured with her poetry, which is no mean thing when you've got 1,000 youngsters listening to you. So it's with great appreciation that I ask Alice to please come and join us this evening. You are very welcome.
Thank you so much for that introduction, and I have to say this is the most nerve-wracking gig that I've had to do so far, 1,000 people or not, because it feels like a great big responsibility. I had all sorts of things that I thought I might talk about, but this afternoon a friend came round, and I happened to be talking about spirituality, really, and I was talking about the countryside and how some things always leave me. Virtually every day there are things in my life which make me feel I want to thank somebody. And I say thank you, not knowing who I'm saying thank you to. So thank you to walking along the seafront this evening towards here and the sun in my face. And the example I gave was when I used to live in Hastings, had a huge beech tree at the back of my garden, which I saved from the builders' administrations, digging all the soil off its roots and building a wall to prevent any falling down on it again. And quite often in the spring, when it was full of those vibrant green leaves, with the sun shining through them at a low angle in the morning, and we'd get a sudden spring rain, the whole tree would be a cascade of glittering diamonds and jewels reflected in the sunlight, and there were just no words to describe that. I wish I could write a poem that would describe that. So that's as near as I can get to it, but I always say thank you, and I hope that I won't let you down with reading a few poems this evening. I've got this flag here, which is lovely. So it's not the first poem I've written by any means, but about 2.5 years ago I wrote this poem, and it expressed at the time coming out a kind of an epiphany for me, and a call to arms to myself, a kind of rebel yell, as well as a feeling of me feeling good about being myself for the first time. It's called Alice's Dream, and the reason I'm doing it tonight, apart from anything else, is because I saw a little bit of a place in the country while I was getting ready tonight, and they used the tune in the background now, much to my annoyance, that the filmmakers used when a short documentary was made about me, and they used the poem in the background. So I've spoken for too long. This is my way of giving thanks for, I suppose, for release into being me. It's called Alice's Dream. I'm nobody's tranny. I'm nobody's bitch. I'm simply a woman. No more, no bit less. I sit in my basement, watch neighbours pass by. If they cut me, I'll bleed. Harsh words make me cry. But jibes won't defeat me, contempt in your stare. The way people treat me is something I'll bear. Look, while in St. James Street, you could see me there. A smile as I greet you, an embrace, should you dare. Just don't give me pity, but a sure hand to hold. For a friend in this city is purer than gold. A sweetheart to sing to as day turns to night. A lover to cling to in pale early night. Too much to expect, it may easily seem, but I'll hold and protect it, this Alice's dream. Because I'm nobody's tranny, I'm nobody's queer. I'm a woman like anyone else, and I'm here. And before I go any further, talking about giving thanks, the one thing I give thanks for more than ever is my children, more than anything else. I've written 2 poems about my children, one for each of them, well, more really, but 2 are special ones. This one's called Midnight Walker. It's called Midnight Walker because it's about bringing up a recalcitrant teenage boy who is lovely, thank you so much, and I know that single parents get a lot of stick. And for a while I was a single parent, and it was very difficult. I had a job, a car, had a house, and that became overwhelming. All of that became too overwhelming later on. But for the time being, I was fairly safe. The people that get all the stick in the press and the Daily Mail are young women, usually trying really hard to make the best of bringing up children, and I think they deserve all the support and love and encouragement that we can give them, because we just want kids to have a secure, loving home, and then they can grow up to be secure, loving adults. So that's my diatribe finished. Okay. So this is just a little poem about my son and parenthood, called Midnight Walker. The tousled, unwashed hair you rarely comb falls into grey-green, almost sightless eyes. Always alone you walk the long miles home and have no time for those whom you despise. So many of your days are filled with gloom, which music solely has the power to ease. All day you play guitar, locked in your room. Always you are so very hard to please. Sometimes your sadness brings me to despair. Your anger stings me and your brittle pain wrings tears. It seems so far beyond repair. I pray that you will find joy in life again. And soon you will walk happy, strong and free. That's all this Father longs for you to be. My son, that's grown to be strong and free and the most adorable young man. And he was quite touched. I thought he'd be annoyed, but I mentioned to his girlfriend, I said, Tom's grown up to be just the sort of young man I think I would have liked to have been. And I think he saw a funny side of that. I'm sure he did as well. Okay. I was going to, what's it? Oh. I want to do this poem called Normal. It's about bullying. And it's about the sort of insidious bullying that goes on and on in people's lives. I might be picking on young mums who end up thinking that they're worthless. And I think what we have to be careful of, I feel, is we turn that bullying inside. So we become our own bullies. We've got this, what I call an inner Nazi, that telling us we're not good enough, we don't look good enough, we're too thin, we're too fat, we're too transgender, we're not woman enough, or whatever it is. And then we marginalise ourselves, so we stand at the edge of the crowd because we feel this. And I just wanted to I did write this poem just because it's about the insulting epithets that go on, and which you turn into yourself. And I hope it encourages people to reject them. So I try to reject them, not with all that much success. It's called normal. Am I normal in your eyes? Am I welcome here? Is this chair free, or must I go elsewhere? May I sit down, please? Share the conversation and a beer? Could you bear to invite me for a visit, or just a drink? Or do you care far more? What must the neighbours think? Is it you're scared? Ashamed to be seen with me by a friend maybe, walking through your city? Would you rather I pretend that I'm not here? Should I simply disappear? Would you defend me or disown me? Would you mind me talking to your kids? Let them be alone with me? Or do you fear I'd do them harm? Are you alarmed as I draw near and cross the street? Would you protect me or shrug and walk away if someone were to beat me? Say, what does she expect when she's dressed that way? Could you accept me as your sister? Refer to me as her, she, miss. Never sir, he, mister. Could you respect me? Always use my chosen name? Or is your heart so frozen in malice that rather than call me Alice, you'd like to see me fall apart? Bear my soul in shame, then you could say, there I knew all along. She really is not so brave nor strong as she appears or claims. Just see how she's reduced to tears by such a little honesty. Could you touch me while we speak as others do? Is it too much to ask you to smile, to look me in the eye, to seek the me inside? Do you abuse me, deride me behind my back, think unkind thoughts, believe I've something lacking, my mind is warped, by rights I ought to be locked up and taught a lesson? Perhaps some psychotropic medication is your preferred solution, or electroshock. Then, drugged, strapped to a bed, electrodes placed to my head, I'd be zapped. Therapeutic electrocution. Well, I have news for you. For if you bet I break down and cry, I made a mistake, could someone try to turn back time, feel guilt or blame? Let me disabuse you. I am really not afraid and I'm not ashamed. Nor have I ever felt one moment of regret. So get this into your head when I say I refuse to play this spiteful game, and I may let you share this life, and it's worth sharing, I can tell you, if you accept me as I am, not with condescension and reservation, but completely. Understand, I am a woman. There can be no compromise. So tell me, please, am I normal in your eyes? I don't know how much time I've got.
Keep going.
Well, you might get the whole lot of this. Okay. I'm not quite sure why. I'll do this one first because it seems like I'm talking about me, and I do. I can only write from the point of view of me. Not because, I don't hope it's not just because I'm totally self-centered, but because I find really, you can be very insulting to other people, putting words in other people's mouths. So I just want to say a few things about me, but sometimes things happen on a bigger scale that you notice. And about 2 years ago, I went home from a nice night out, and I switched on Facebook and looked on the news and stuff, and the pictures of people in the street in Thessalonica, being beaten by the Golden Dawn and various people who were taking transgender people, and it's not just transgender people, be anyone, and locking them up behind, in prison camps or concentration camps at the time. And I have to admit that I just sobbed into my laptop for a few hours and wrote this. And I wrote it about Athens. A, I thought it was Athens, and B, there's no way I'm putting Thessalonica into it. They're cleaning the streets in Athens, sweeping us up, keeping us hidden, binned within fences. In a land where they can't collect taxes, we're seeing people like us rounded up and extracted, gathered and tethered, battered and fettered. Not for committing offences, except for the crimes of just being ourselves, exhibiting difference and being defenceless. The streets are still sullied with dog shite, strewn with discarded detritus of the thoughtless, the tourists, and those who despise us. No one gets paid for that cleaning in this city where billions of euros go missing. There's no justice, no trust in the system, and ordinary lives have no meaning on streets where the poor feast on crusts and are pissing in gutters. Nobody dares make a fuss, or even cares enough, because their streets, at least, are clean of us. And yeah, I will do this. I'm not quite sure what this is called. Woman love, and it is. I guess it's partly about the love that dare not speak its name, as was once coined. But it's more than that. It's about a love of being a woman and embracing womanhood, and feeling very uncomfortable with women who attack in any way another woman. Whether it's, some pop star who's done something with a boy pop star or whatever. I think I'll just do the poem. I have to confess to a passion for women. I adore womanhood and feel blessed to be part of this feminine world at last. It feels so good. At the rare times I find I can't help but despise any woman, Germaine Greer is one. It's the spite in her eyes, contempt that's expressed through the press of tight lips, the lies she lets slip from her tongue, the harm she is doing or has already done, and the blight in her mind that renders her blind to suffering. Womankind is delicious for her. There is physical beauty, it can't be denied, but the only ugly is on the inside. I would never deride a girl's joyful surprise at the face that she greets in the mirror each day, the glorious way sunlight glints in her eyes, or glows on bare skin. There's a kinship of women I know we all share in. No one told me it was no whim, this yearning, stirring, whispering, scolding voice within, insistent, demanding, commanding me. There was no choice but listening, no more falsehood, no more him. This or death, nothing less than womanhood. Some severe encasement held me locked in. Fear of estrangement, shaming, cold accusations of sin. Now there's no more questioning, no he. I'll dare to face your mockery and debasement. This is my epiphany, my story, the glory of my spring unfolding, all I ever longed to be, me, she, and free. And my poems are it's kind of sad, I suppose, but I hope they're ultimately not. I hope they're kind of got something in them that give people something to, especially people like me or people who do feel marginalised, a reason to carry on and to feel, well, at least if she can do it, I'll give it a go. But this is a poem called Time is Short, and I suppose it's about regrets, and it's about saying to myself and to people, make the most of every moment, grasp every single second of love, and whatever is meaningful for you, and don't waste time on nonsensical trivialities. I just do the poem because I just hope it speaks for itself, and it is a bit, I suppose it's a bit sad, but it's at such times you realise that too few years remain in your short life to hear again all the records you once bought, or even those you thought you'd always ache to listen to once more. Now there's no room to store inside your head the books you ought to read, much less revisit those you've read. For you no longer need the strain of extra information. There's too much thought already filling up your brain to saturation. Now there's no time nor space to take each treasured photograph, to place it in an album or a frame, peruse each face in search of lost elusive names, chase memories, past pleasures, games of tears and broken hearts, or days of sunshine, snow and rain, to know that you cannot regain those years of hope and joy and laughter. Now there's no time to say the things you should have said. Those loved ones are long dead, despise you now for wrongs that in their eyes you've done, and severed ties, and some have simply flown away. It's at such times you understand that you can never find the right words to express all the happiness and sadness that you've ever felt. Those myriad regrets for such distress you know you must have dealt to others so much weaker than yourself. It's at such times you know that you will never be the greatest poet on this earth alive. That you can only strive to show the world the one you are. Tell your story from the heart in your own way, and pray perhaps to touch the hearts of others too with things that you believe, such as they are. Be true to yourself and hope perhaps to leave some small mark behind you. It's understanding how it feels growing older on your own, knowing now you'll never really find someone who tastes of tangerines and cinnamon, who smiles whenever you appear, whose eyes you fill as she fills yours, whose tears you still as if by some mere act of will. It's her applause you'd always listen for, crave so much more than anyone's, though hers the loudest anyway, of course. She'd be the first to say, how brave, well done, even when you try to sing. Be your number one fan, and know, and know, and know for sure, she will always be your everything. So I was going to finish on it's another sad poem. I don't think I'll do that one. I'll just finish on a short poem that I've only just written about returning loves and how bugger sometimes people can be. I hope it's slightly more uplifting. And so if I could do that, it's just a 1 minute poem. Thank you all so much for being such a lovely, attentive audience. And this is just one of the most lovely gatherings I've ever had the pleasure to do some poems to. I'm so excited now. And I hope I'm not going to completely mess up this last little poem, which I shall just do. It's called Home Again. And lots of people will recognise this in this room, I'm sure, this situation. So, you're home again. You just walk in with nothing but a flash of that familiar rascal grin. After all these weeks of worry, in you prance, swaggering cheek, no sorry, insouciance. One morning I wake up and find you've gone, just as before, although you've never stayed away this long. Did you find another woman? Perhaps this time a man. I knew that you'd get all you want and need, you always can. So now you think that you can blithely saunter through my door, rely on me to fold you to my breast and love you as so many times before. I will admit, that part might well be true. I'll patch up the shattered pieces of my broken heart, submit, hand it right back to you, which coolly you'll accept, flaunt cruel disdain to tell me that no one will ever truly rule your heart. You annoying, irritating, agonizingly glorious, gorgeous, smelly cat.